moving on. Okay, so those of you who have been tuning in and watched last week, sorry about the glitches, and I'm sorry that we weren't able to record the session and share it on YouTube like I wanted. Unfortunately, I had a lot of problems with Instagram that day, so yeah, it was a bit of a shame. But we will have Sarah back on here in the near future, so no doubt you'll be able to hear more from her, and hopefully I'll be able to add it to YouTube in the future. So for those of you who don't know me, just want to introduce myself quickly before I get this week's guest on Coffee and Chat. My name's Brenda. I'm the owner of Rose Gold Slayers. I started this platform back in, when did I start this? I guess in July last year properly, but I didn't launch until October. And it's been really interesting actually, because it started off as something that I was just sharing content that I liked on, as a platform for just sharing content that I thought was really beautiful and rose gold related, and then I just kind of decided to evolve it into an actual brand. So it's changed a lot in such a short amount of time, and so it became a publication, a digital publication for all things business and lifestyle, as well as a community platform. So as many of you know, we do like to share a lot of content that's relevant to our community, to praise people that have achieved things or that are starting their own entrepreneurial or creative journey. So yeah, it's very much come together as a platform to celebrate the achievement of others, as well as provide useful information. So just to give you a little idea, if you're not already familiar with the work that we do, we have some great contributors as well, some guest writers. So if you're interested in writing for us, you're welcome to do so. And many of the articles you see are also coming from myself, as I do tend to do a lot of writing and copywriting for the businesses that I work with. So if you see my face a lot, that's why. So moving on. Anyway, I don't want to talk about myself any longer. So today's guest is someone who's been very much supportive of this whole project from day one. She was actually the first person to interview me in relation to Rose Gold Slayers several months ago, and I was so nervous. I mean, Cassie can tell you all about that, how ridiculously nervous I was doing it, because again, live was just so new to me, and the project was so fresh as well, so I had no idea what kind of traction it was going to get. So yeah, I'm really excited to have her on the Instagram Live today, and basically have a bit of a role reversal. So I'm just going to invite her to the conversation now, and that's Cassie from Profit Passion Academy, by the way. So let's just get her on here now, and then she can. But yeah, if you're not familiar with her account, I've added the tags. Check it out. Oh, she's here. Hello.
Hello. I look a little crazy. It's Friday night.
Don't even talk to me about crazy. Have you seen what's going on here?
I love it. I love your hair natural. Looks good. I kind of did that too, but mine isn't as great as yours.
I've just spent the last 10 minutes just trying to tame it, because I was looking more like a cross between a drag performer and a wild bushwoman. So I've just spent the last 10 minutes just trying to tame it to something that looks a little bit more reasonable. But no, you look great, and I love what you've done with your hair. Actually, it's quite different, isn't it?
Well, I had to cover the grays. This is what happens when you get to be my age. You're like, okay, I got to go in anyway. But no, it's just, what it is. It's like you get bored. You're like, oh, cut this, cut that. I'll grow it out later, whatever. So yeah, whatever it is. Hair is an accessory, But thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you look great. You've always looked great. And it's so good to have you on here as well. I mean, it's just so funny how, it was only a few months ago, but it feels like such a long period of time has passed since then, because it was just so new. There was so much going on at the time, and I know you had a lot of things in the works as well. So it's really good to do this after a period of time to see where we're at with things. Yeah, so Cassie, just introduce yourself for people who haven't come across your profile yet.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I want to say thank you for interviewing me today, and just bringing me on and sharing your platform with me. That really, it means a lot to me. I think that's your style, that's your attitude, and it is National Women's Day. So it's like such a big deal. I really want to support women. I think you have the same, you and I really vibe on the same way that way. And I just want to say thank you because it means a lot to me. It's not an easy thing to share your platform. It's not an easy thing to go on live. Lives are not easy, of course. But just the fact that we can be together and showing kind of our different perspectives, our experiences, I love that interaction. I love how we can have conversations with other women and learn from each other. So I just want to say thank you for that, Brenda. And I know so much has happened and I'm excited for you and your business and what's doing. I mean, you have so much style, you have so much knowledge, and I'm just blown away by you every time I see your stuff. So I just, want to put that out there right now. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to me because, Sarah from Conversion and many others that I've been connecting with in this short period of time, I see you as role models. You're people that I find really inspiring, and, you care about the same things I do. So to hear that from you means a great deal. So thank you so much. And it's really lovely to have you on here. So yeah, I just want everyone to know a little bit about you, like in terms of, who you are, what you do, how you began your journey, because I know that, aside from the coaching, you do have physical business as well. So if we just go from the beginning and then people can learn a bit about who you are and, what you do.
All right. Well, I guess I'd start with, I'm married. I've been married a long time. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 21. My youngest is 14. I have 2 girls, 2 boys. They're fantastic. They're really great kids. And I feel in some ways they've kind of raised me, which is great. I'm very thankful to have good relationships with my kids. And also about 14 years ago, I was working with a friend and we started a business. It's a daycare business. I have an education degree. And I've always loved kids, obviously. I have 4, but I've always loved other people's kids too. That's kind of been my thing. And, so we started that actually on behalf of our church, but then that person left. It's a long story, but we wound up, I got a new business partner. We bought it from the church. It's separate now, and it has been for quite a few years. And so we have about 116 to 120 kids, infant to 5 years old. And we have about 40 employees. So it's definitely a real business. It's a 7-figure business, and I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of my staff. I'm proud of my business partner. And I'm really thankful for it. It's provided a lot for my family. It's helped me to put my kids in college, and I'm just grateful every day for that. It's definitely a lot of work. We're open all year round. So thankfully we've been able to scale up and hire management teams. So I used to be doing everything. In the beginning, when you start a business, you do everything. And then as you grow, and as you can scale up and make more money, then you can hire people to do that and just be more, another level tier of management. So it's good. And my staff is excellent. So I always, I'm a firstborn. I always have that personality, people coming to me for advice and what do I do? And can you fix this for me? I'm kind of a fixer. And people, I think I've been coaching people for a long, long time, but never really gotten paid for it. So I was really looking online as I've been able to scale my brick and mortar business. I was like, a lot of people are asking, I'd really like to do something on the side and also have multiple streams of income, which I feel is really, really important for women and for anybody. But you really have to kind of diversify where your money is coming in because you just don't know. And look, running a business, it can go up and down. I think in 2008, we had a really hard time with the economy and, people didn't have jobs, so they couldn't enroll their children. So, things can go up and down. So I was looking online, I found Crown for Success, and then I signed up eventually for her coaching program. So I decided to become an online coach, and I love the idea that you and I can talk right now, and we're in different countries, and people who, people in our everyday lives aren't into coaching and business and entrepreneurship like we are. But at least I can connect with you online and, find people who are very similar minded so we can connect that way and support each other. So that's my journey. I started about 1.5 years ago with the coaching. And so I last year, 2018 was my coaching year. I really, got clients. I worked hard at getting clients and helping them find success in different areas of business and then Instagram. And so I've developed I've got an Instagram certification. So I've developed my Instagram style and, my methods and my my way of doing it. So, and I can coach on that too, and how to grow my following and that type of thing. So I've kind of done, Instagram, and then I've also done some social media management to try that out and get my feet wet in that. So it's kind of been a whole process, but I've just learned so much from people. I have learned just so much from interacting and even working for other people, but then, coaching people. To me, it's just fantastic. Like, it gives me such a high, to see other people have success. I'm just like, this is fantastic. So that's kind of my whole long story, but just to give you a background of who I am, what do I do, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the thing. That's one of the things I noticed when we first spoke is that, at the forefront of what you do is like helping others and connecting and, sharing your knowledge, rather than just hoarding it and using it in a selfish way. It just seems very genuine that you really want to help people as much as, yes, there is a business side to it. But, being able to connect with others and, help them grow seems to be like such at the forefront of everything that you do. And I love that. I think it's, as you said, important for us to share that information and to help others where, it might not be so easy for them to get that kind of support. I mean, especially when you start your entrepreneurship journey, like in the beginning, it's very tough and you've got a lot of odds stacked against you and naysayers like, oh, but you can't do that. And how are you going to afford this? And blah, 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 like all these things, so it's really important to have someone, I think, that you can just go to and say, look, forget that, this is what you need to focus on. And don't worry, you can do it. You just got to take the steps, and take on board what I'm telling you. So I think that is really, really important.
It is. And I think you're smart that way because you've kind of created a community too. And we can't do anything in a vacuum, and even for my brick and mortar business, I have a team. I have a whole team that we work together. I can't imagine, just going it alone as an entrepreneur online. Like, you just can't. It's too hard. I think women are meant to connect. We're made that way just naturally. We're nurturers, we're connectors. And when you don't have that, you can really kind of spiral downward and kind of fall in your little, Alice in Wonderland hole and not know where you're landing and kind of, like you said, lose focus. So you're right. We need coaches, we need guides, we need support, we need groups to join. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can just speak from my own personal experience, that by connecting with you guys, like, it's made a whole world of difference to everything that I'm doing. Because before, when I started Burn the Night, especially, I was going it alone. I just come out of a sort of rocky business partnership that didn't work out, and so I was just trying to like pick up the pieces, start something for myself, and see what I can do with it. But like, as much as having my partner and certain family members and friends that were supportive really did help. Not having that professional, sort of support and just connecting with people that understand the process and, being able to just egg you on in that way was really tough, so there's a lot to be said for like building a community, especially a community of people that are in the same position as you or have been in that position or just starting. It's so important because then you can help one another, you can lift each other up, and you don't feel like you're afraid to ask for help or to say, I just need you to be really honest. What do you think of this? And you're going to get an honest response.
Yes. And I think that really honesty is good. It's not judgment, it's honesty. And there's a difference. It's not like, that really, no, you can't do it or whatever. It's more like, hey, I'm trying to help you grow. I'm trying to help you get to the next level, trying to help you make money. And I think it is really important to remember too, as you're growing your business, you've got to monetize some way or another. And sometimes that's using your current skill set so that you can get to the next skill set. You know what I mean? Like maybe you can run somebody's Instagram page for a while just to pay for something or coaching that you need to get to that next level too. So there's a lot of ways. It's so limitless now, and I love that. Like, I'm so excited. And my kids are like, Mom, seriously, we know this has been around. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I'm so old. It was before the internet when I started, So I think, like, for me, as kind of that person who's, I'm a Gen Xer, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. The possibilities are endless. And, just to encourage everybody, like, look, if you want it, you got to go for it, and you can find it. You can find it. You'll find work anywhere. So it's cool.
Exactly. You just got to not be afraid to put yourself out there as well, because that's something I really struggled with too in the beginning. It was like, oh, but I don't want to seem like egotistical, or like I'm just kind of putting myself on people. Where it's like there's a way in which you can do it where you're not pushy, you're not going for the whole, almost like door-to-door sales pitch or anything like that. There's a way you can do it so that you're still being genuine and you're trying to connect with people, but you're getting what you do out there as well. And that's so important to know as well, that it's okay to do that and you need to do that.
Yes, yes, you do.
Yeah. But that's the thing. There's a lot of challenges that come up, when you start your journey in particular. And then even as you're going along and you're growing and you're gaining traction and you're gaining new clients, there's still certain things that come up that I don't think we're necessarily aware of or prepared for, because there's no manual to this. It's just kind of like, you do your research, you plan and prepare, but there's always going to be things that come up that you had no idea would be a factor.
Absolutely. I think that's the beauty and the pain of being an entrepreneur, is just not knowing what is around the corner. And when I was building my brick and mortar business, it was like every day was a struggle. Can I just get to the end of the day? Because something always hit me in the face. And a lot of it was due to my lack of experience and knowledge, maybe in the field of doing that. And so I think the best thing you can do is try to prevent for everything possible, because there's going to be surprises. Like no matter what, you're going to be hit in the face with something. So you might as well prepare everything as much as you possibly can, because you just know there's going to be a surprise around the corner and you're like, okay. It's like, can you keep getting back up? I think that's the thing that entrepreneurs have that other people don't. It's like, I'm just going to keep going, and people are like, are you crazy? I'm like, nope, I'm never going to stop. No matter what happens.
Yeah, that's skill, like that's an attribute that you really need though, because otherwise you won't even make your first year. You have to just keep going. And even when there's things that come up that just seem so outside of your control, you just got to, take a step back and think, okay, what can I do? Yeah. Like what positive changes can I make? And okay, if that's really not working, then, what can I do instead? You're constantly having to assess and just keep, like you say, pick yourself up and keep moving forward. Like there's no option of going back. So
that's very true. There's no option. And I think like having the group, it's like you can kick each other in the butt sometimes and be like, no, I did this. If I can do it, you can do it. And I tell a lot of younger women that too. And it's only encouraged me more to be more of a, trying to be that mentor, because I feel like, look, if I can do this, and I'm not that smart and stuff, I'm not that techie, I'm not that good, I really am not, and that's okay, I accept it. But I can learn. If I can learn at my age, oh my goodness, are you crazy? You're 21, you can learn it 10 times faster than I can. You can get light years ahead of me. So to me, that's kind of my thing too, is like, look, you know what, you can learn so much, and just keep getting back up is the thing, like you said. Just keep coming, just keep going. So. And that group helps you, because then you get encouragement and you're like, okay, they went through this before me, I can do it too. So, that's a good thing.
I think, like you said, you just touched on that actually. I think mindset is a massive part of that as well, because what's impossible to one person is achievable to another, and I see that all the time playing out. People think, well, how could you ever get to that milestone? And I'm like, watch. Watch. Give me time, I will get there. It's so true. Your mindset plays a massive role in what you can achieve and what lifestyle you can create for yourself.
Yes, I think you're the perfect example of that. Look at you. You've like really created a lifestyle for yourself, and you've made certain choices, and they've been hard at times, like really hard. But because you went this way instead of that way, or maybe you went up instead of down, and you maybe, rock the boat a little bit for some people, like your life is turning out the way you want it to be. You've kind of directed it in a good way. So, a lot of people just are so passive. They're like, well, this is what I have to do. I have to go to a job. I gotta go, and I gotta come home, and I live for the weekend, and then I drink, and then I, Monday rolls around again. And it's just like, that's not a way to live. You're not really present. You're not really experiencing things. Your mind is just like allowing somebody else to control you. When, if you're an entrepreneur, you can do what you want. Obviously you have to work. It's hard work, but you've been a great example of that. So.
No, thank you. I mean, it's like you say, some decisions I've made, well, most of my decisions I've made, people are just like, I don't understand, what are you doing? What is your life? How does that work? They just can't even comprehend that there's other ways of living aside from the 9 to 5 or working 12 hours a day doing something you hate, just to live in a place that you've always lived in. People just don't realize that there are other options, I think. So I try to encourage people where I can to say, well, think about what you're really passionate about, what you really care about, and then when you spend time developing your skills within that, you can then make that a business. You can make pretty much anything a business if you know how to apply it. So, I think a lot of people just need to be aware of that. But even then, some people just, don't want that, and that's fine. You don't have to take that route. The entrepreneur life is not for everybody. Right. But I just think that people are quite critical of that because they're just not used to seeing it in action. They don't know many entrepreneurs, so they don't really, they can't relate to it, I think.
Right. I agree. And, there are I think a lot of, in the past year, at least what I've seen online, especially social media. I know I want to talk about social media a little bit. There's a lot of influencers like, hey, become an influencer, become this big name, this big personality, this big persona online. And not all of us are meant for that. Like, that is definitely not my goal. It's like, I'm kind of a natural introvert. I'm a little bossy, but that doesn't mean I like to be on the stage. So to me, I'd rather be like working under somebody else and kind of riding on their coattails a little bit, learning as I go and kind of expanding my skill set. So I think we should also encourage women, like, look, you don't have to be center stage if you don't want to be. There's still work you can do. There's so much you can do to support other people too and still make a living at it. So I think, sometimes social media is it bends kind of the truth or the reality of what you could do as an entrepreneur too. Like, there's so many options. There really are. So, don't be discouraged if you don't want to be that influencer, that big personality up on the stage all the time. You don't have to be, and you can still make money. You don't have to have 500,000 followers on Instagram to make money,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true to myself as well, because, people find it weird that I would say I'm an introvert. They're like, but you don't seem like it. And it's like, no, really, I am. Like, I am a hermit by choice. I really am, because that's always been my personality, even though I love connecting with people and learning from them and sharing and just, bouncing off one another. I am very much an introvert. So the idea of having a massive stage and being this big worldwide public speaker, that terrifies me. I mean, I'm scared just doing an Instagram live, let alone
You're doing great.
Thanks. Let alone doing something on that level. So that doesn't mean that I can't be successful in the ways that I wish to be, with my business, just because I don't want to be a public speaker. And I think that's kind of what's getting lost a little bit, especially when you're reading like the big entrepreneurial magazines and digital publications and stuff. They're always like, how to improve your speaking skills, how to gain this massive audience, how to be, a huge author, how to do this, that, and the other. And it's like, that's great. Like, if you want to do that, like, definitely follow the advice and take the steps, because that will help you get there. But at the same time, it's okay for people to know that you don't have to do that. You can still be successful. You can still get like a really engaged audience and still do well, without having, like you say, being this larger than life personality. It's all about just being true to what you want and yourself. That's all.
Right. That's exactly right. And that's, that's something I try to tell people who've coached before too, that I've coached them and try to say, look, let's find your thing. Let's find the thing that makes you happy, that you could wake up in the morning and be happy to do, because it's still work, it's still work, but you have to really kind of soul search a little bit for yourself and know yourself pretty well and have the right mindset, like you said, and kind of be a little bit self-aware, know yourself well to apply yourself online. And that's a really good process to go through, is understanding yourself a little bit too. So
yeah,
that's good.
For sure. I think that does play into, your presence online as well, of course. Like, if you know yourself inside out and you know what your message is and what your purpose is, then it's easy to translate that online onto social. But when you don't have that defined, that's when you're going to find your account just being really mishmashed and not coherent and just conflicting ideas, and I see that from time to time, and it's a shame because there's some great content out there, but sometimes people just don't really know what it is they should be putting out there. I saw a good post actually earlier, and it's so true, that someone created, and they were saying, it's not about doing social. It's about being social. And it's true. You know, I think people get so lost in the idea like, oh, if I do this and I, you know, create this kind of graphic and with these messages, and if I regurgitate the same thing everyone else is posting, then I'll get 10,000 followers and all this stuff. But it's not true. It's like, you know, what is it that you want from social? Like, who do you want to connect with? Who do you want to be part of your network, your audience? You know, some of these people may even go on to be your friends. So you need to think very clearly about who you want to be associated with. And like you said earlier, you know, even having a live discussion with someone, that's a big deal when it's coming from your brand, because you're basically saying, you know, this person aligns with my vision, therefore I want to share my platform with this person. You know, so even little things that seem so small and trivial like that are actually really, really important.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's something that people, especially if you're new to, you know, the business side of things, that's really important to be aware of, because your brand is something that you represent, but your brand also represents you.
Exactly. And I think that it's so easy to overbrand, but then you can't maintain it for any length of time, because it really has to represent you. It really has to be your message. What would you normally say to somebody? Obviously you can amp it up a little bit online, but you're right, because you can't fake it for years, and it's a years and years business. So yeah, great.
Yeah, you got to be in for the long haul, as I say.
Long haul, yeah.
So I'm quite curious, actually, what your thoughts on this, because I'm someone who used to be so terrible for this. I've kind of reined myself in now. But because I do a lot of social media work for my clients, you know, I was basically everywhere. I was on every platform and trying to like split my time between everything. And I was like, wait, this is insanity. I'm not even really posting on this. Why do I have this account? So, I mean, obviously I know that's something you haven't done, which is good. And you very much streamlines like which accounts you have and, you know, what content goes in there, how much time you invest in it. So, I mean, for someone who's starting, what would be your advice in terms of what kind of platforms they should be using and, you know, how they can best get the most out of that platform?
Yes, I think, you know, a lot of it depends on your personality type. I mean, I always joke about Facebook as being like rant book. It's like ranting and raving and like, you know, political stuff. I'm like, why am I following this person? I thought they were my friend. I just don't want to like see this. Anyway, I just really don't care for Facebook. I mean, groups are great on it. It's a great platform for that. But, you know, it's just, and plus, let's face it, like my teenagers tell me like Facebook is for old people, whatever, you know, I don't even like it and I'm old, so I don't know. But I prefer Instagram. That's like my number one. You know, I'm on Twitter with my name, but I never tweet. I just don't like the platform because I'm a visual person. So I know that you can like attach everything, you know, I know that, but just in terms of just, you know, the limiting of words, I'd rather write a little mini blog sometimes. And so for my preference, I recommend to people Instagram. It's really easy to use. It's really fast to set up. You can connect it to a business account on Facebook, and you know you can sell from Instagram. But you have to be careful. It's, you know, social selling. It's not direct, constant direct. You know, like right now, I'm definitely in the middle of a campaign for the company that I work for, but that's not how it is all the time. You know, it's like cycles and sessions, and not every post. But I love Instagram because you can really connect with people. People will comment and engage. The engagement is really high on Instagram compared to Facebook and other platforms. So like you said, you can build your business, you can build your community. And, you know, let's just face it, Instagram's a little nicer. People are a little bit nicer. It's kind of established that way, you know, and I love that. So I'd rather, you know, not have people yelling at me. I've had comments on my stuff before from angry men and angry people sometimes, and I'm just like, I respond to every comment, but I'm just kind of like, it's rare, it's few and far between. So I always recommend Instagram because like I said, it's quick and easy, but you can also really express yourself, and you can kind of mini blog on it. It's a great platform for that if you're not like a big writer. I'm not a huge writer, but I like, you know, kind of expressing myself on Instagram. So it's good. But it has worked well for me so far. Yeah. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, your following is incredible, actually. It's grown so much. And like you say, you get such good engagement as well because your posts are relatable and, you know, there's significance in what you're saying. You're not just saying it because you think, oh, that sounds nice. Like there's meaning behind it. And yeah, and like you said, I love that Instagram is so visual. I'm a visual person like you, so being able to like express myself creatively and just like get the message out there in a really punchy way, but then have the option of having a more detailed description. That's really good for me. That's like perfect. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously, whatever platform you feel works best for your writing style or your visual style or what you're trying to communicate or your business, that's the platform you should use. You know, I mean, we both love Instagram. Instagram is my favorite as well. But if you prefer Facebook, that's fine. If you prefer Twitter, that's fine, or Pinterest, whichever works for you. But it's just important to know how to format your posts so that you do increase your chances of engagement, because engagement is something that's really difficult at the moment, especially with all the algorithm changes on every platform, and then all the you know, bot accounts that they're trying to sweep out. So some genuine accounts are getting, you know, taken down by mistake as well. So it's really important that you do your research to know that, you know, your content isn't going to get flagged, or you know, you're not going to just basically be visible to no one. So just some things to think about.
Yes. And if you want a couple tips, if you're just starting an Instagram page, you know, post 2 to 3 times a day, sometimes 4, spread them out. Use up to 30 hashtags. I recommend 25, so you can add a few, you know, get a few sets going and just rotate between them, and see what works for you. But just honestly, just post, get out there. If I post once a day, I kind of stay at the same number, like the same amount of followers. If I post twice, I grow a little bit. If I post 3 times, I grow more. But I always use hashtags. I always use a call to action at the end, like drop an emoji below. What do you think about this? You know, what's your best way to feel better in the morning? What's your morning routine? Whatever it could be, ask questions, and that's how you get engagement. And always reply to every comment if you can. Sometimes I lose them. I'm like, where did they just go? You know, but you know, they're, you know, go back. I always try to go back over my posts and respond to everybody, because it's really important to, you know, be there for people. If you have a brick and mortar business, you show up every day. It's like, you know, like my daycare. If I didn't show up, the kids would be standing at the door outside, not be able to get in. You know, you have to think about your Instagram. If it's a business account, you have to think about it as a business. You have to show up every day, be consistent, and really, you know, tell your story, talk about yourself, talk about life and things. So it's really good. Yeah,
for sure. And I know that's something that I have to pay a little more attention to recently, because I've been so fixated on, like, you know, these projects I've got coming up and then client work and stuff. And I know that my burn and night profile has been a little bit quiet lately. So, okay, I really need to invest more time in that. So, you know, you're going to have times where, you know, you slip a little bit, and that's okay. As long as you're aware of that and you think, right, I need to get back on the horse and, you know, just dedicate time to that, then it's okay. You know, you'll be surprised. You can pick up engagement again. So
it's so true.
Don't think the world has ended if, you know, you have a bad week or you have a day where you haven't posted. You can pick it up, but it's like you say, it's consistency is important if you want to grow and if you want to stay connected with your audience as well. Yeah, so no, it's very true. So yeah, another thing I wanted to discuss with you as well is the coaching side of things, because I know that's become very forefront of what you're doing, especially with your online presence and the digital work that you do. So, I mean, with, you said it was through Crowned for Success, am I right? Yes. I've seen the platform before. Yeah. And so could you just explain a little bit about what that is and how you got into it and what you do for the platform?
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited about it because I took the course. It's like an 8-week course. You know, we have training calls every week. There's homework. It's like a process you have to go through, practicing coaching. It's really practical course. And very valuable, because for me, even though I've given advice to people over the years, it's like, oh yeah, do this, do that. Well, this is actually a formalized way of leading people and guiding them through an educational step and process, you know, using some tools that are objective and helping people evaluate themselves, because we all kind of know our own answers. We just don't always know what's the next step. You know what I mean? Like, we have our own guidance and our, like, kind of our own inner GPS. We know kind of what to do. You know, it's not that we're stupid or delusional. We're just like confused sometimes. Sometimes we're overwhelmed. Sometimes we get a little bit sidetracked or distracted by, you know, other people in our lives telling us like millions of different things. And that's what I love about coaching. So what I did is I got my certification in life coaching and business coaching through this program. And so that's actually not on my website right now, because there's like a smaller program that I'm promoting right now. But we do have something coming up releasing in April, which is like the 8-week course. So that's a big deal. If you guys, whoever's watching, if you're interested in the 8-week certification, just DM me on Profit Passion Academy and I'll get you the information. And we can talk about it because it's kind of a little bit, it's a big program, you know, it's like a serious life coaching certification. But what I love about it is seeing results, you know, so guiding someone through this process, you know, because I'm an educator, I love steps. I love, you know, kind of, rubrics. I love, you know, how can we track results? How can we see that you're progressing? How can we see that you're getting those aha moments? And I think Crown for Success, her certification program is really practical. It's like, this is what you need to coach. This is like, you can go through that program and start a coaching business literally the next day. So for me, I loved it because I found out more about myself. I found out more about what I really want to do. I niched it down to what I'm good at and what I can really help people do. You know, and so within that, you know, situation or with Crown for Success, there's an affiliate marketing. So you can share it with other people and you get paid from it. So that's what I'm doing right now is also, I love it because I didn't have to write the course. I didn't have to like set it all up and come up with the idea and like figure it all out, but she did it all. And then, you know, you can share it with other people and then I can be part of the coaching team now. So I love that it's kind of like promoting other people to get into coaching. I think people need coaches even more than maybe psychologists because a lot of us girls, we're all here to help each other and we can be like, no, you got to do this. This is what you should do. More so than maybe, and I'm not cutting down psychologists, but I know a lot of people, we feel like, oh my gosh, I think I need therapy, where maybe you just need a little bit of coaching to help you see your own, you know, path that you already know about, but maybe you're just kind of, you know, overwhelmed or sidetracked. And so to me, I feel like it's just helping so many people. And then, you know, I have friends who do, you know, relationship coaching. Like our team, we all have different kind of niches so that we can say, oh, you need this, let's talk to her because she's really good at this, you know, kind of niche or this aspect of it. So I think, you know, being on a team, we have talked about already, is great. And then also being able to help influence someone in a positive way, that means a lot to me. And that's part of being a coach. But, you know, part of coaching too is a little bit of tough love. You know, sometimes you get people who are like, well, I know what to do. And I'm like, well, then why'd you hire me? You know, I can be objective and tell you, like, I think we got to work on this and I'm going to do this. It's like you have to be teachable to want to coach and you have to kind of be ready to grow and learn and change and kind of adjust your mindset and be willing to, you know, hear some.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I was having some connection problems. I don't know if you're ready, Cassie. I know you're on your other account. So just let me know when you're ready and we'll get you back on ASAP. Okay, great. So let's see if we can get you back. I love technology when it works. When it works, it's amazing. When it doesn't, it's, oh, what?
Sorry about that. My daughter was like messaging me through my other account and I like tapped on it. See, this shows how bad IT I am. I'm like, oh no, I'm on the wrong account, my personal account.
It's okay, it's no problem. I was just panicking because I was having a lot of problems when I was on live with Sarah last week. So I was like, no, not again. But
it's all good.
It seems to be working. Yeah,
everything
it seems to be working now.
Reason. Yeah, what can you do?
That's the thing. So yeah, I was really curious what you were saying before, because I think the last 5 minutes or so, I didn't catch it. That's when it started to disconnect. So could you just backtrack a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to remember. It's about, you know, honestly, like just saying coaching, I think it's just such a helpful thing. I've even had a coach this past year because I think we're all at different points in our journeys and that's okay. You know, like if you're starting here, you can't really compare yourself to somebody who is here on step 10 in their business or, you know, it's not really fair to yourself to do that. But if you're starting out and you're, you know, looking to grow your business and, you know, I think I'm more of a business coach. And so that's my focus. And I think I can get you from this point to this point. And then maybe if you have to go beyond that, you have to hire somebody else. You know what I mean? Like maybe you'll get beyond that and go beyond where I am. And maybe someday I'll grow to a point where I can get people farther too, you know? So I think as a coach, you just have to be a few steps ahead of where your clients are at so you can kind of reach back and pull them along. And I love that about coaching. It's just such a great tool and a great method of helping other people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing, like you say, I think it's really important having that sort of like an intermediary step as well, because like you said, sometimes people, especially when it comes to life coaching, they might need some advice, but going to a therapist or psychologist might be several steps too far. Then it might not be at that point that they need professional help on that level. Maybe it's just they need someone that can just say, it's okay, calm down, and just have like a real one-to-one personable sort of conversation where they can just be honest and not feel that clinical sort of surveillance on them. It's just like a more relaxed atmosphere. Yeah, exactly. Coaching should be for everybody. I think I agree. She conquers the world. That's a great statement. I think so.
That's a great statement. And I think it's so true, because a lot of times we know what we need to do. We just need somebody to be kind of come alongside of us and say, it's okay, you can do it. This is now here's the next step. I think a lot of it is, what's the next step I need to do? We get so overwhelmed. We get so bogged down. We have so much information. And it's like you need a sister to come alongside you and be like, hey, it's all right, let's go. You can do it. And, you need that cheerleader, you need that push, tough love, but you also need that empathy,
Yeah.
That's good.
It's so important as well, because I see I used to actually work in mental health for a period of time. So I know how the system works. I know how, therapy sessions go. And as much as it can be very useful for people, sometimes really everyone needs that more of an empathetic kind of relationship with someone, so they can sit down and be like, I understand where you're coming from. I had this, but, it's not beyond you. This is what you can do. So as much as there might be times where you need that professional help on that level, with certain aspects of it, you also need that sort of one-to-one sort of human connection as well, just to sit you down, maybe put an arm around you and say, it's all right, it will be okay. Just think about this. I think that's important, and empathy is something that doesn't seem to come so naturally to some people that are in sort of higher positions of authority, or especially if they're in like a CEO position of a company. I hear that a lot, that their leaders, people's company leaders are not so empathetic, to their needs or what's going on in their situation. And that to me blows my mind, because even I see business articles talking about it like it's a skill, and I'm like, empathy isn't a skill, that's an attribute. And that's something that you need as a leader. It's something you need as a manager. It's something you need as a coach, right?
Yes. And it's funny because, sometimes in coaching sessions, and, you can do a one-time coaching session and maybe take a couple of takeaways, but you really need long-term coaching, because, it took you how many years to get to this point in your life where you're confused, you're not sure what to do next. It's going to take a little bit longer to keep going through the process of learning how to kind of unlearn some bad behaviors or things that aren't serving you well, and then relearning positive behaviors that will help change the trajectory of where you're going with your life. So I think, a lot of times we kind of expect these instant results, and but a lot of times my coaching sessions would turn into something else. We had kind of a plan, we're planning it out. This is what your goals are. This is where we're headed. Each week we're going to hit this, this, and this. But then sometimes, life gets in the way and something comes up. And this is what happens. It's like Murphy's Law. You set a goal and then something happens. Life gets in the way and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to quit. And I got, and that's what a coach is there to be like, no. Refocus. Yeah. And sometimes, the coaching sessions that I've done with people are more like, okay, let's get refocused. What are the behaviors in your life that need to adjust and change that are preventing you from achieving your goals? So you made really good goals. You've written everything down. You've made a plan, but you're not able to execute. And why is that? And some of that is just being an objective person saying, hey, let's talk through this. And, I think it's really important, like you said, it's just listening, being empathetic. But a lot of times it's redirecting. It's like, why aren't we getting there? What's happening? And get back up again, so. Yeah,
exactly. And that's why, even though I wouldn't say I have a coach as such, not in any professional way, I see a lot of you guys as my coach, as people that I see your messages, and half the time the timing of them will be so perfect. There's something I need to hear, or there'll be something within it that I was just talking about or that I really resonate with. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. You have no idea, but thank you. You have no idea how much that meant to me in that moment, but it was so relevant and just exactly what I needed. And I think that says a lot as well about the power of social media.
Yes.
That you have no idea how much your message can positively impact someone else. It can really make a difference in somebody's life. So I think sharing those insights and those, positive messages and messages of encouragement are really, really important.
Yes. And I'm like the type of person where I need somebody, like if I'm going to go work out, I need somebody there waiting for me, because then I'll be like, oh, I can't let them down. I need to show up. I need kind of that outside, accountability. And I think, a lot of people are like, oh, coaches are expensive, but really what you're paying for is you're saving yourself time and headache, and you're kind of you're on speed dial in terms of, getting ahead for what you're trying to do in your life. So you're actually, if you have the money, it's worth getting a coach because you're saving time and you're jumping ahead and progressing. And I really recommend it to people. And I think it's something where the accountability factor, to me, that just is golden, and your friends can be your accountability, but like we said, sometimes they're not always into the whole, entrepreneurship journey as you are. So, it's a good thing.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I know there will be a stage coming up soon where I will probably need to get a coach, because there's certain things that I'm scaling and changing, and just there's so much going on right now, especially because I have more than one brand. I have like 4, right?
Yes.
I've just created another one.
I'm like working on my one brand. Brenda's 4.
No, but that's the thing. It's like this. That's a lot of work to take on. So every now and then I feel like I need someone to just say, okay, breathe. It's all right. Just do this, and it'll be fine. Even though that I'm a brand consultant and I do give support and advice to other businesses and individuals. Even as a consultant, you need a coach. You need a mentor. Everyone needs that. Like even in psychology, psychiatrists have psychiatrists.
Yes.
Psychologists have psychiatrists. They have therapists, because when you're doing that kind of work, it's very taxing on you day in, day out. So you need that outlet so you can release some of that from your mind and your, sort of the baggage that you're carrying emotionally, so that you can do your job effectively, so you can get the downtime and have a life as well.
Yeah.
So everyone needs someone else is the point I'm making.
Really good point. Really good point. And I think as you're scaling your business too, you have to know when to hire somebody, like in terms of your profit margins, where you add in your financials, so that you can really, when is that point to start taking that risk and that jump, or is it not time yet? And those are types of things that are really good to have a coach for, because sometimes even just talking through it, and like when, everybody's a different risk taker, especially with finances and money. I'm a big risk taker. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just money. Other people are like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to do that till I have like this much in the bank, So I think some of those issues too, as you scale and as you think through some of those things, I encourage you to do that, because it is important to at least bounce ideas off of that, other people and coaches and everything like that, because it's just, you just don't want to make a decision in a vacuum, or maybe not even talk to somebody who's been through it before you. And I think it's really good. I'm excited for you, by the way.
No,
I love your branding. I love your stuff. I'm always like, oh my gosh, I gotta follow her. So
Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, even in my position, even though branding is what I do and I can create a brand, it's getting to that point where I know, probably not yet, but in the near future, especially as, I invest a lot more time in certain aspects, there will be a point one day where I'll have to get a team on board. Yes. That will be a reality. And you have to be, if you want to scale, if you want to grow, you have to be prepared to invest in that, because you don't want to just get anyone that will do it, dirt cheap for you. You need someone who's going to do the job and do the job well. Yes. So that's something I would rather, maybe not spend nights going out at the weekend, which I don't really do at the moment anyway, but not doing that, and having the funds to then hire someone to do the things I need to do so that I can grow my business and get to where I want to be.
Exactly.
So it's just knowing how to invest in your money and knowing what's more important,
Absolutely.
And I think, I mean, for people like us, it's a no-brainer. Like, of course I'm going to invest money in my business. You know, whatever money I'm not spending on general life, you know, goes straight back into my business. Why wouldn't I do that? But for some people, that's like a really big, scary step, especially if they're new to the business side of things. But just know that I know there's always an element of risk, but what's the alternative? That you go back to do something that you don't want to do and have the money to just go out occasionally to try and forget about your life. Or you can invest that money in creating the life you want, so that one day it will pay off, you know. So what would you prefer?
Yeah, and I lose track of time when I'm working for myself. If I'm working for somebody else, I am like counting the minutes, you know, like, this is terrible. Myself, I'm like, 14 hours later, I'm like, oh gosh, what did the kids eat today? Where are they? You know, like, I don't know what's going on. And that's fine. You know what? I get a little hyper focusy, but it's good. You get present, your mind is focused, you're doing well, you know, and you get really good results. So I think it's really good. And by the way, those of you who are commenting, you guys are awesome. I'm like seeing the comments, they're like very engaged, and we appreciate you guys. And I really appreciate you guys, you know, kind of engaging on this too. It's great. So
yeah, for sure. Thank you for your comments. And I love that, because I want to hear your guys' feedback as well. I know sometimes I get so engaged in the conversation and what you have to say and other guests have had to say, and I'm just like blah blah blah. But yeah, your engagement is so important. So thank you for people who've been sharing their thoughts and, you know, hitting the heart button and all of that. Like, that means a lot to me. So thank you. And if you have any questions as well, don't be afraid to drop them, because you know, this is not just a conversation between us, it's between us and you guys as well.
Absolutely. So
don't be afraid to drop some suggestions or questions or just your thoughts, really.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk a little bit too, if it's okay with you, like we were saying you don't have to be like this big brand or this personality yourself. Like, I love affiliate marketing for that reason. For me, I've tried it this year and it's worked really well for me, because I have kind of like residual income coming in from it. Every month I get a little, you know, deposit in my bank account, and I didn't really, you know, I just had to connect with people and lead them to something like a product, a digital product or a course or something. And I just want to encourage those of you who maybe you're like, I can't really write a course, I can't write a book, I can't, you know, you think like I'm not really good at this or that, but you might want to think about doing affiliate marketing. I mean, obviously you have to find the company you feel comfortable with, you feel aligned with, it's with your values and morals and, you know, your own sense of messaging and, you know, how you feel comfortable with. But affiliate marketing is basically just you're sharing this information or this course or whatever it is program with other people, and then you get a percentage of the sale from that. So I want to encourage you guys, there's so many ways to make business, you know, make money online through business. It's really great, because to me, I'm just always like, let me try that, and if it works for me, great. If it doesn't, I'm like, all right, I'll do something else. But you might be interested in affiliate marketing. You know, the company I work with, Con for Success, it's actually, she owns Boss Lady's Mindset too. But if you're interested, just DM me on Profit Passion Academy and let me know, because it's something where you could work from home. Like, I'm thinking, especially like moms who maybe have little kids and they can't go out, they can't afford daycare, they can't, you know, but you could literally be on, you know, DMing people on your Instagram and be making money. You know, that's incredible. Like, that to me is pure women empowerment, you know, where so like I love that. So you know, if there are those of you who are listening, or maybe you see the replay later, if there's something that you're thinking about, affiliate marketing is a really great way to go. But you have to join a company who's not just going to be like, oh, here's your link, and then they don't help you. You have to find something that really helps you. Like our company that I work with, they give us posts, they give us verbiage. Like, we literally have to like drag and drop and paste, and it's so easy. You know, so find something you feel comfortable with, but that might be another option too, like social media management, doing content writing, doing things like coaching, and then also affiliate marketing. Those are great tools to make money online. Like today, you could literally start making money online, you know?
Absolutely. Like, I literally, for an example, you know, I had an idea a week ago, and I was like, yeah, I've been toying with the vague concept of it for some time, and I was like, maybe I'll come back to that. But, you know, the idea was so clear and vivid in my mind just one evening, because I tend to work best in the evening for some reason when it comes to, you know, creative thought.
Yeah.
And, and I was just like, I'm going to make that. So I did. The next morning, I literally set everything up, and now I'm just like getting all the pieces together, because I know that I see so many accounts, as I said, that are sharing some great information, but they don't have access to a graphic designer, or they don't have access to an illustrator or whatever to, you know, really make their branding stand out, which is really important. So I basically, what I've done is I'm creating a store where you can get graphics and you can customize them, or you can just use them as they are, and it'll be like, you know, for blogs, for your social media, if you want to update your resume and make it look really fancy, because this is stuff that I was doing for people anyway, right? So I was just like, hang on, why am I not putting this out there? So that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I'll share that with you actually once there's a bit more, you know, content there and it's a bit more fleshed out. But yeah, that's coming up really soon, and I'm so excited because I know so many people would benefit from it, and it won't be so costly either.
Well, it would
so
save
I think
so much time. People who can't, like, you know, maybe people are visual learners, but they can't create beautiful graphics, but they really, they know what's good when they see it, you know, but they can't always create it. And if you've got that creative thing and you're offering it to them for, you know, a huge savings, and they're saving so much time, you know, think about that. Our time is so valuable. And if you can save and you can benefit another person by buying from them, that'll come back tenfold, believe me. You know, I really believe in that. Like, when you help somebody else, it's going to come back to you. And I've seen it over and over. And I think, like, it's a win-win. They're benefiting from your product, and you're also benefiting as a business. I think it's great. I love it.
Absolutely. No, thank you.
You're so creative. I love that about you. You're like laying there in your bed. You're like, and here's 5 more business ideas. You're like,
oh I'm really bad for that though, because I have to rein it in, because I'm like, geez, if I don't, then I will have like 15 businesses, you know, 20 brands on top of that, and it's like, okay. So every now and then I have to like rein myself in, because I just go, oh, I can do this and this and this and this, and my partner Charlie is just like, okay, but you do know you need something called sleep, right? Like that's something human beings need.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the thing. But yeah, I love it. I love branding.
You should do business coaching and consulting so that you can come up with ideas for businesses for people. That's what you should do. I think you'd be great. So just share some of the love.
Maybe that could be my next proposition.
There you go.
By the way, Charlie, you're watching this right now, which I think you are. You heard that. That wasn't from me. That wasn't my idea. Someone else said I should do that. So I may have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it.
No, it's great. I mean, that's the thing. I love talking about like business and lifestyle and everything with you, because we're so in tune on that level. And, you know, we care about the same things. We love, you know, seeing people do well as well, and being able to inspire people, help people, give them advice, you know, and just bounce off one another, really. I love that, you know, and that energy is so important. Like Charlie and myself were talking about this the other day, how important it is to surround yourself with that energy, that positive, nurturing, growing energy, because otherwise, if you don't, then you're going to always be at this stalemate. You can't grow if your environment's really limiting and suffocating and toxic, right?
Yes.
So
yes, I agree. Yeah, I think, and I don't think people even know sometimes that they're in a toxic environment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like so used to it. We get numb. And until you kind of step out of it, maybe you get a little break or a vacation, you come back, you're like, wait a second, some of the people around me aren't really helping me, and I'm helping them so much, but it's not reciprocated. Or maybe they're just always, some friends are just always negative and you don't realize it. And then you step back, you're like, wait, everything you say out of your mouth is like a downer. I don't know, maybe you start cutting things down a little bit. Not that you cut off people, but you're just like, I'm not going to go out with you for a little while. I need a break. And then you start to see how your mindset changes, your attitude, your feelings. Like, we're so emotional as human beings, and you don't realize how it just really seeps in sometimes, and you do have to make a choice. And that's hard sometimes, If you have people in your life that, like even your parents or whatever, your sisters, brothers, if they're always saying negative things to you, that's fine. But just, kind of limit some of that exposure a little bit, and, encourage
you do. You
to
really
find the right ones.
Yeah.
You do. You have to protect your energy as well. As much as you want to help someone or be there for someone, you have to protect yourself as well. Otherwise, you end up zapped and you're like, oh gosh, how did I get here? Like, what's wrong with me? I don't even know what's wrong. Not knowing that actually it was someone else that was draining you rather than your circumstances.
It's true.
And I think that's important to be aware of, especially when you're in business as well, because there are a lot of naysayers. I talk about this all the time, but there are. And so you need to be like, okay, I appreciate that, you're worried or whatever, but, I've got this. It's okay, and take a step away from that because it's counterproductive.
Right. And I think it's important as your partner, your husband, your wife, whoever that is, I think you have to make sure that they're on board too. And I know for me, I'm really thankful and grateful for my husband because he's like, I just want you to be happy, and that makes me happy because I feel free. And not because I would just limit myself because of him, but we are partners who've chosen to be together. And, we do want to encourage each other and lift each other up and make each other happy. And his form of happiness is playing in a, country band and his guitar and everything. That makes him happy. I love that. My form of happiness is running a business and like helping other women. So I think that that's really important. Those of you who are watching, it's just evaluate your life a little bit. Like you said, you want to get around positive people, and they're not just like their mind isn't in the clouds. It's just their attitude, their stance, their perspective is like, it's like you have a choice of how you look at your life, and life's going to happen anyway. Do you want it to all be negative because you made it negative, or do you want it to be positive because you made a good choice? Like, no, I'm going to see the silver lining. Even though things happen, I'm just going to still, look at it in a positive way. It's a choice, definitely.
Exactly. You might not be able to change some of the circumstances that arise, but you can choose how you deal with it, and where you go from there. So it's important to be aware of that and, not to just settle because it's easier or it's comfortable or any reason like that. If it's not serving you or the purpose or, it's not creating the type of environment that you want, then something needs to change. So.
Yeah.
I'm just going to plug my phone in because I just had this notification come up like, 15% battery. I'm like, of course.
Oh,
so I'm
technology.
Just
we love technology. Battery.
Technology. And it's raining a lot, so if you can hear like this weird sound in the background, I'm sorry, because it just decided to have a huge rainstorm all of a sudden. So.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
We have snow on the ground here. It's crazy. Do you guys have snow there or no?
No, because I'm in New Zealand nowadays.
Oh, you're in New Zealand now?
Yeah. So I know when we first spoke, I was in Iceland then. I was in the icy Alps.
Yes, that's what I was wondering.
But yeah. So but no, I'm literally on the complete other side of the world now, and we're just coming out of the summer season, going into autumn. So it's rainstorms occasionally, and a little bit colder in the mornings now, but
nice.
It's not too bad. I'm quite curious what the winter's like here.
Yeah. That'll be nice. That'll be really nice.
I'm sure it will be. But another thing I wanted to talk to you about just quickly, because I know we've been talking probably nearly an hour now, so I don't want to keep you on here too long. I appreciate it's evening time there, but it's just something I really like to talk to you about because I know that it's so important to our lifestyle and just everything that is us, and that is spirituality and how that kind of plays a role in your messaging and how you approach connecting with people and the type of people that you connect with. Because I know even with ourselves, even though, we have like different belief structures or however you want to phrase it, it basically comes down to the same sort of thing. And I love that, you can connect with so many different people, different walks of life, come from different upbringings and still be able to meet in the middle, especially at a time where people are becoming very polarized and they're trying to push you one way or the other, or say, oh, you need to be following this, you need to believe in that, you need to see things the way I do. And I just think it's so refreshing when people can come together, be different, and celebrate that. I just love that.
Oh, I love that too. And it's so funny. I'm definitely, hey Jen, I see my friend Jen joined. She's one of my sisters there. I'm so happy. When it comes to spirituality, I think initially a lot of people, there's kind of two camps of people. They want to say there's really not that that doesn't exist. Oh, ghosts don't exist, our spirits, what are you talking about? It's just material. And I definitely don't believe that. I know you don't either. And I think a lot of times we negate our blessings, we negate our potential when we don't take into account the idea that we have a spirit outside of our physical bodies. And I think, like we don't take care of ourselves, we don't listen to our own spirit telling us, okay, this is not working for you, this is not good, that kind of thing. Now, when it comes to spirituality, I'm a Christian, and I'm a proud Christian. I also try not to be a judgmental person. So that, to me, and I have friends who are not Christians. I'm like open, and I think we all have to find our own path. We have to find our own journey, and where you're at on that is totally fine. And I just love it that there are so many women who are waking up to their spirituality, waking up to the fact that, there's something else guiding us. There's something else out there that is beyond our own experience, our own physical limitations, our own minds, our own, we're just kind of limited. We're stuck in our bodies in a way, but we have that spirit. And I think when that wakes up and you start seeing life and other people in a spiritual way, you're more compassionate, you're more empathetic, you're able to live better with other people, you're able to be more understanding. And I think that's in the love, like love just is everything. We know that love is something where it forgives, it forgets, it embraces. And I think that the only way we're going to change the world is just one person at a time. It starts with us. It starts with how we treat other people. It starts with, however that may be, whatever title you want to put on that, that's fine. But I want people to remember how they felt when they're around me and how I treated them. And, I think that goes a long way with how my spirituality is. I look at God as my higher power. Sorry, it's getting late. My brain is like, he guides me, and it's personal to me. So that affects me a lot. It affects all my life decisions. It affects how I treat my kids and my family and other people. So, I think it helps so much when we have somebody outside of ourselves who we feel accountable to, and we feel loves us unconditionally. It helps us to love other people better. So I vibe with you on that totally. It's like, there's just so much more than what we can see. And the minute you recognize that, you start treating people differently. You start, understanding, you start forgiving, you start, embracing more than pushing away. So
for sure, especially when you really start that journey and you start to realize how connected we really are. Because we live in different countries and we have different identities, we think that we're so segregated, but we're not. We're so connected, and we can tune into one another's feelings, and you might even pick up something that someone's thinking, not even that they're projecting anything, but you might pick up a thought process and you think, oh, something's wrong there, and maybe I should check they're okay, or you get that sense from people, and that's because we're very much connected. And that, like you say, is through I would refer to it as our true selves or higher selves, or however you want to term it, your spirit, the thing that is driving your body. Because exactly. As far as I'm concerned, you are not your body. You have a body, but you're not your body.
Exactly.
But the very essence of what you truly are, we are all part of the same whole. So of course, I think that it's important that we do care for one another, and that we do try to connect on some level and respect the fact that people are on different paths. They're on different stages of their journey, and that's all important because it all feeds back into the overall collective consciousness and human experience overall, so that we can make positive changes in the future. So we learn from those mistakes. So even if someone seems like they're really on the wrong path, and they're making lots of mistakes and they're miserable, I think you need to, I don't know the word pity, but just have a little bit of empathy for them and sympathy, because, ultimately a lot of the people that lash out most are people that are struggling the most, So I try nowadays not to be so judgmental, particularly because, as someone who's had very difficult times in my life, I know how easy it is to get in that mindset, especially if you feel like you're alone with it. There's no one you can talk to, no one can relate, no one wants to help, and of course, you're just going to go further and further down the spiral. And I think that's also important when it comes to business as well. you know, that you respect that everyone's different, they're different stages with their journey. So just because you might be further along the line doesn't mean that, you know, you're above them, and, you know, you shouldn't be willing to hear them out, or maybe even support their work in some way, even if it's just like sharing or liking or saying you're doing great, you know, something so small, you know. But I think that people need to do more of that, because I see a lot of people as well who, you know, are doing very well or very successful on the surface, that kind of forget all that. Now they've reached that level. It's like, oh, well, I don't need to care about those that are, you know, not on the same level as me. And that's really sad, because you're there because of those people. You're there because those people believed in you and your message. So it's so, like, just unreal to me that people kind of lose sight of that. And it's sad, I think.
Sounds like you've been going through a lot of like journey in your own mind too, and growth and development. You know, I love that. It sounds really good. Really, really good. I'm happy for you.
I've had to do a lot of that as well myself, like over many years now. But I think probably over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I've really taken that seriously. Like, I've had to do a lot of work. And that meant, you know, as I said, being a hermit, I literally went from being out with my friends, getting drunk every weekend, to not seeing anybody at all. At one point, I didn't speak to anyone for like 2 months, and I just went completely in because I had to. It was the only way I could really just take out a lot of the damage and just reassess and heal and just go, right, okay, what do I really want? Do I want to continue down this path, or do I want to be who I truly am? So, you know, sometimes it takes something drastic like that, but in the end, you know, it's for the, you know, greater good for yourself and for those you care about. So
yes, I love that. You know, and that does sound like a huge journey. Like 2 months alone, I crave that. Awesome. But, you know, at the same time, I think sometimes the most prickly people I love the most, because I know that maybe they've gone through trauma, they're hurting somehow, and to me, those are the ones that attract me more in some ways. I know it sounds crazy, but I think if we all do look at each other as we're all equals, we're all the same, like you said, in one way or another, that's the only way. That's the only way we're going to change. That's the only way we're going to influence others to be more compassionate and loving. And we're not just a set of rules, and we're not just a set of behaviors every day. Even as entrepreneurs, you know, we always say, what's your morning routine? Oh, I do X, Y, Z in a row. That's not you. That's not who you are, who your spirit is. That's not your person, you know, like you said. And that kind of just really sparked something in me when you said that. I appreciate that, because it's just, we're not just this set of things. It's not like what we can see and touch. It's like, who are you? Like, who are you to other people? How do you interact? Who are you to yourself? How do you treat yourself? You know, all those things, that's really who you are. And I think a lot of people are kind of numb to that. They're not aware. They're not self-aware, you know, just not there yet.
I think all the distractions doesn't help as well, because people get so bogged down with looking on social, like Instagram. Like I said, I love Instagram. We both love Instagram, but at the same time, there is a toxic side to it as well, like with everything. And, you know, people see these influencers that are projecting this life that isn't real. They're not even living that life, you know. It's just in order to project something that they can benefit from financially, right, in some way or another, or gain followers from, whatever it is. But it's not sincere. It's not authentic, right? So, and I think that's really quite dangerous, because especially with, say, my sister's generation, you know, she's 18 years old. She's just stepping into adulthood now. And she's grown up seeing this. It's not like, you know, when I was a kid, or when you was a kid, when the internet was just like this concept and you're just starting to see the beginnings of it. You know, we actually remember before the internet was like a major thing, whereas with her, it's always been there.
It's always
been there. So she's exactly. So she's always seen these people coming up, and these, you know, as she's like navigating teenagehood, she's seeing all these influencers and all the content that's being pushed out there, and these narratives, and just YOLO, and this really sort of nihilistic, you know, almost self-destructive kind of way of being, you know. And it's just really, really dangerous that if we don't have people like yourself, or people like I love this guy called Prince EA. I'm sure you've probably come across his
I may have seen something. Write that down though.
Yeah, Prince EA. he's like a content maker, so he's like a filmmaker, but he's also an influencer and a speaker, and he does all this stuff. And he's basically, his whole message is just trying to promote positivity and get people to care about the things that truly matter, you know. And he does that through his you know, spoken word and his filmmaking and stuff. And it's really, I love what he does, even though he's had some backlash from people because he's very direct and he's honest, but he does it in a way that it comes from a place of love, not ridicule, you know.
I like that.
And people like him I find really, really amazing, because he literally spoke about this in one of his speeches, and the video went viral. And he was talking about how, you know, you're an influencer. Okay, great, but what's your influence? What are you influencing?
Right.
You know, are you putting something positive out there? Or are you making people come away feeling like death, you know, making them feel like they're not worth anything, you know, because you're projecting this idea like, I've got it all, you've got nothing, you know? Or are you actually building people up and saying, look, don't worry about that, you know, you're great as you are, keep going, you can get to where you want to be, you can heal, you can grow, you can learn that skill, whatever it is, you know? And it's so true, like knowing the difference and choosing who you listen to, who you engage with, who you spend your time with, you know, is so important, whether it is just talking to a friend, like you say, and, you know, assessing, oh, is this someone good for me or not? Or, you know, if you're watching listening to a podcast or watching a video from an influencer, you know, all of that is going to have an effect on your well-being. So it's so important that you choose wisely.
Yes. Yes. That's great. Great advice. I love it. Love it. I'm going to look him up.
Yeah, I think you'll really like his messages, because it's very much in tune with that, and just, you know, letting people know that they're not broken people, they're not beyond help, or, you know, they're not worthless because they don't look a certain way or they don't have a certain thing. All of these things, like just things that people really need to be aware of, and just help them love themselves again and others as well. And that's what it all comes down to, really. That's what we all need and want, and that's what we truly are. You know, we are love. Love isn't something that you just create out of thin air. That's something you are, you know, it's something you just have, you know.
Yes.
It's just realizing that.
Yeah, I agree. Very wise beyond your years. I love it.
I feel like I'm just, I'm a grandma now, you know, like I've lived so much, like several lifetimes in one lifetime, that I'm already a grandma. And that's why I just want, like, to get my business where it needs to be, so I can just live with some animals in the wilderness somewhere and just be happy.
I love it. That's great. That's really great. Aww, I love it so much.
But no, it's been amazing talking to you on here. I don't want to keep you on here much longer, because I know it's been way over an hour.
We could go on and on. We should meet up once a week and go live. You're like, what else this week? Okay.
No, I mean, that's the thing. I would love to do another live with you for sure, you know, and if you wanted to do them every now and then, that would be amazing, because we have so much we can talk about, and already I feel like we've covered so much ground, but we could just go on forever, as you said. So I would love to have more live sessions with you for sure.
Great. Awesome. We'll switch over to my page next time and we'll go back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, actually. Just ping pong between accounts.
Exactly.
Yeah, but no, it's been amazing. You're just such a light, to be honest, like in the social world. You know, the content you share is amazing. I love who you are as a person. I love what you share, and you know, just your whole aura is just really, really positive, and I love that. And it's just so great to be able to finally do this live session with you. And I know that, you know, from everything you said, there's going to be a lot of people who are watching this, but also watching the replay, that will gain something really, really beneficial from it. So thank you for taking the time to talk about those things and to share it with our audience.
Thank you so much, Brenda. I just really appreciate what you do. And I just want to encourage you to keep going. Keep going. You're only scratching the surface right now, and you're already brilliant. So I can't wait to see what's next. I can't wait to see how you grow your business, where it goes for your lifestyle and for the life that you've created for yourself. And I applaud you in that. It takes a lot of courage. It really takes a lot of courage to do that. So I'm really happy for you. You know, I love you too, and I want to encourage you any way I can. I know I'm always busy running around, but just keep DMing me, pinging me, and you know, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate, you know, just sharing your platform. Let's do that together even more. So if any of you are watching and you want to know any more about coaching, just DM me at Profit Passion Academy, and I'll respond. So, all right.
Thank you so much. And again, I will add this video to the replay. The other one is already on there. So yeah, if you haven't caught this, you can still catch it. Thank you for everyone who's come on here so far and who's been interacting with us, you know, dropping comments and, you know, just hitting the heart button. That means a lot to us. And yeah, I really hope that you join us for a future chat, because no doubt we will be having more conversations. This isn't the end.
Have a great weekend, Brenda.
No, thank you, you too. So yeah, take care everyone, and I will see you on my next live video. So see you guys. See you, Cassie.
Bye.
Bye.